Hey everybody, this is an impromptu live. Okay, Tamara Tamu here with another episode of Unleashed Alchemy. I don't know if anybody's gonna come in because, like I said, this is planned. This was not a live or a planned live at all. I actually was going to uh, pre-record this video, but I want to come on here and I want to give some more information about my 90-day spiritual odyssey consultation package. I know that is a mouthful, but I guess because I am long winded, I could not think of a way to narrow that title down because that's what it is. It is a 90-day spiritual odyssey consulting package. All right. It is a one on one session with me, or sessions, I should say, with me, where over the course of 90 days, you are going to experience and gain, even before the 90 days is up, you are going to experience and gain spiritual freedom like you have never experienced before. All right. What has prompted this? First of all, one of the things that has prompted this is so first, with my one-on-one sessions, I see two people here. Hi. Impromptu live surprise. So one of the things that prompted me changing the way that I do one-on-one sessions is because I am noticing that there are so many people that are still experiencing religious programming, and it's keeping them in a box from really exploring who their true self, who they really are, because of fear, because of shame, because of, well, really all the root of that, anything that's keeping them in a box, the root of that is fear. Okay? Fear, period. And so I wanted I wanted to provide more. This is my way to help more. I think that people will experience more of a transformation over the course of a few months rather than just in one session with me. Now, you can get results in one session. You can get results even by yourself. You don't even need a consultation. However, when you have made a decision to leave something or break away from something, and it just doesn't have to be religion, but anytime you made the decision to break away from something that you have been accustomed to, even it doesn't even have to be your whole life. It could be for 2 years. It could even be for 2 months. After you get used to something and you know that you feel a tug in your heart that that it's time for you to expand, to go beyond what you're used to, it can be jarring. Okay, it can be jarring emotionally. You can feel it in your body physically. You go through a whole array of emotions and feelings. So let me say this. Hold on, I gotta get some water already. So when and you've heard me talk about this before if you've been here for a while, when I broke away physically from religion, that religious programming, that control, that dogma that said, here's only one way to divinity, here's one book you need to read to divinity, do not look to, do not question anything else. When I decided just to surrender to that call to expand physically, and it happened several times over the course of 20 plus years. Physically, I was gone, but mentally, I was still being controlled. All right. And so, what I realized is that I went through phases over the course of those 20 plus years. I went through phases to get from religion to spiritual freedom. All right. So, those phases included when I first left religion, okay, when I left it behind, I felt a little bit of freedom. It felt exciting. It felt like bricks had been removed from my shoulders, and that I could finally just breathe, that I could finally just live, that I could finally just survive in life. Okay. Then, after some years went by, then I realized I was feeling angry. Angry why? Angry because I allowed something and some people to control my mind, hence control my body, took my energy from me. And I was literally pissed off. Okay. And I carried resentment. And I realized it wasn't necessarily anger with those other people, but it was anger with myself. It was resentment for myself that I allowed, that I didn't have the confidence to ask the questions that I wanted to ask. I didn't have the confidence to speak up and say, no, that message doesn't sound right. I don't care if it is coming from the Bible. Something's off. That interpretation is off. Something doesn't sound right. Make this make sense. I became angry with myself. That was another phase that I went through. Then I went through a phase of loss. And what do I mean by that? So, this phase of loss, when I grew up in those religious structures, that religious structure, I had friends. I made friends, had acquaintances, had, friendships that meant something to me. But because those people were still attached to religious dogma, I had to let everything go. Then there was this sense of, oh my gosh, I not only have I lost friendships, I've lost time. So then there was another resentment toward that. I had lost time. I kept telling myself, oh, I wasted time. I can't go back and get all that time. I can't go back and redeem all that time. It's gone, it's gone, it's gone. Then it was, I wasted all of that energy. Now, what do I have left? There was that feeling of loss. So, there are 3 phases that I've talked about already. The fear phase, the little bit of freedom phase, the anger phase, the loss phase. You go through that. Then you decide. I made a decision. Okay, I can either keep revisiting what I think that I've lost, or I can start my spiritual odyssey from where I'm at now. That is where the light switch for the true freedom and the true expression of who I really am, that was when it turned on. That was when the exploration began. So during that exploration, you don't just start just jumping into certain spiritual practices. No, you have to give yourself time for your nervous system to adjust to the new, to adjust to the unknown. So that means you have to release the sense of loss. You have to release the fear. You have to release any shame. You have to release any resentment toward yourself first. Because if you release resentment and anger toward yourself first, then it's easy for you to release anger and resentment for the outside, for people. Okay, so it has to start from within first. All right. So you go through that. I don't want to call it a healing phase, because I feel like that phrase healing phase and healing journey, it gets overly used, all right? Because you think, okay, you have to heal, it has to take a long time. No, it does not. Hence the reason why I have changed my one-on-one sessions to 90 days, so that you don't have to go through 20 years of all of these phases. You can go through these phases quickly so that you can experience spiritual freedom quickly. All right, it is possible. It happened for me over 20 years, but I can present it to you in 90 days. Okay, so then you've got, let's review this. So you've got the little bit of freedom, the little bit of excitement that comes when you make the decision that there is more beyond religious dogma. Okay, then you go through the anger, then you go through the loss, apparent loss, okay, or assumed loss. Then you go through the healing part of it, where first you are forgiving yourself, okay? We throw that out. So now what happens is, after you have forgiven yourself, you've forgiven the outside, you've forgiven the external, you've forgiven other people. Now what you've done is that you've opened up the channels fully for your expression. So now the higher self within you, your higher consciousness, can actually start to open up channels. You open up avenues. Now you can receive messages, whether you want to call it, listen, I don't care what people call higher intelligence, infinite intelligence. If you want to keep the God title, you can do that. I'm not telling, this session, these sessions, these 90 days are not about any type of titles that you use. Because at the end of the day, the universe, infinite intelligence, the messages that you receive, it is all about energy. It is all about spirit, your higher spirit, that cosmic connection that you have with the universe, that cosmic connection that takes you beyond your normal senses. All right, that's what we're talking about here, and I don't care what you call it. All right, you can call it pink fairy dust, it doesn't matter. So now, since we're opening up the channels for expansion, you're going to start to find your soul having an affinity toward certain spiritual practices. Not only that, but you're going to start to get reacquainted. I say that on purpose, reacquainted with your spiritual gifts. They won't be foreign to you anymore. They're going to feel like home. So for example, I can remember being 6 years old and knowing things about people that I had no knowledge of. So I didn't know what it was, but I could read people. I could read energy. People could walk past me and I would know certain things. For a long time, I shut it down because I thought I was making it up. I didn't understand it. Okay. Some people will call that discernment, whatever. Some people, I call it, I'm just a reader. I can read people. Okay. I don't need tarot. You can sit down in front of me. I can tap in and I can read your energy. Okay. I had to embrace that. I had to get reacquainted with that and not be afraid of it. Okay. I found that I could touch objects and read energy from objects, touch pictures, look at pictures, and know things about people in the picture. Okay? So those are the types of gifts, and your psychic abilities were turned on because now you have opened up the channel beyond religion. That is what you came here to do. Because we're energetic beings, we didn't come here just to exist in this body. We came here to bring the unseen into the seen, and that takes you using and embracing the power of your spiritual gifts and to use it for good. You have to understand, this is another thing too that we'll cover in the 90-day session. Some people are afraid of their spiritual gifts because the question is always, well, what if I use it wrong? What if I don't know how to use it? You are of creator, infinite intelligence. You are naturally of divine love. You are naturally of divine wisdom. How could you not use your spiritual gifts for good? That is natural. It is the negative side of that that is unnatural. So get out of that fear of, oh, I don't want to use it wrong. You won't. Why? Because you're going to declare with your mouth that every spiritual gift that you have, you use it lovingly, wisely, spiritually, effectively, with wisdom. Period. All right? So we get reacquainted with ourselves that go beyond what we see in the mirror. And so if there is other research for you to do about whether it is about psychic ability, whether it's about candle magic, whether it's about metaphysics, you don't have to go down a rabbit hole of research. That information has a way of just coming to you, whether it's through another person. It's just going to come in naturally. It's not going to be something that you have to scrape for. All right. So the reason why that piece is so important in this phase, in these 90 days that we'll spend together, because when you start to talk about certain spiritual practices, people automatically think, oh, I've got to jump in. What book do I need to read? What do I need to research? Who do I need to talk to? No, you don't start off that way. You let it come to you, because it will, in the most synchronistic fashion that goes beyond what your ego and your logic could ever present to you. Okay? So I invite you, if you are one of those people who are still, there is something beyond dogma, and you are on a what's that, the teeter-totter, you're teetering, that there is something more, but you've got perhaps a fear that is keeping you away from just opening yourself up to that. This 90-day package is for you. All right, so that you no longer have to walk in fear of embracing your spirit. Okay? You can no longer be afraid of yourself. Religion teaches that. Religion teaches you to be afraid of yourself, because religion keeps people focused on a guru, something outside of them that is going to give them wisdom, rather than spirituality says you have inner education that's already in your DNA, that's already been placed in your lineage, that you can tap into. Does the universe use other people that are aligned, that are soul aligned, to give you messages? Yes, but that is not your first go-to. Your first go-to is to go within. Your first go-to is going within. Everything you need is in your blood, in your DNA, in your chromosomes, in your mitochondria, everything, your organs, your cells. Did I say your cells? I'll say it again, your cells. It is implanted in you. That God source, that God power is in you. It is not separate from you. So, if these phases, if this sounds like something that you are working through now, sure, you can work through it by yourself. But I offer guidance to you because I have been there. It took me 20 plus years. You can get there in 90 days. And our sessions, we hop right on. If you can tell by some of my videos, and maybe you can tell by this live, I'm just very much in your face. Let's go. We don't waste time. Okay. We do not waste time in these sessions. So over the course of the 90 days, we'll have scheduled video sessions. If for some reason, if you can't do a video session, we can do phone session. It's very flexible as to how we can do the sessions. We will have scheduled sessions though. That's very important. In between those sessions, we'll work through the phases and you'll have time to integrate those sessions so that it's not just back to back. So even though, 90 days sounds like a short time, but it's not going to feel like that. You're not going to feel rushed. Also, you're going to have access during those 90 days. You're going to have complimentary access to the Unleashed Alchemy Magic School as well. You'll have access to the community. You will have access to the live sessions that are in the school. So you're going to have the one-on-one time that we'll spend together, and then you'll also have access to the workshops that are in the magic school as well. So I wanted to give a better breakdown of what I offer in my 90-day spiritual odyssey consulting package. All right, I wanted to present that to you. So if you have any more questions for me, you can leave me a comment, or you can also email me. Email me at unleashedalchemy@gmail.com to get more information. So, I was just getting ready to say, if any of you have any questions for me, leave them, type them in. But I see everyone that was here has gone. So thank you for joining me on this impromptu live. And until next time, cheers.